talk 2 weeks ago, talk about UFC 249. It was scheduled for April 18th at the Tachi Palace in California. At least it was, until the governor of California put in a call up to the bigwigs up at Disney and ESPN and pretty much demanded that they shut the event down. As a result, ESPN and Disney called Dana White, told him to stand down, and that's what happened. And everything for this month, which was, after that April 18th card, everything's going to get rolling again, according to Dana White. That was postponed indefinitely until May 9th. Because apparently the UFC just does not give a flying fuck. They went ahead and they're scheduling a card for May 9th. It's supposed to be this big mega card that was originally going to have 3 title fights. It's moved to Florida. Why is this happening in Florida, you might ask? Well, 1, Florida does not give a fuck. 2, Florida actually officially said that they'll allow sporting events without a crowd, which opened the door for the WWE, which has been running shows in Florida this entire time, by the way. And then the UFC, it's opened the door for them to, I believe, have a show in Jacksonville. I don't know the venue yet, but, we're going to find that out soon enough, I'm sure. But it has been officially moved to Florida. What is going to be on the supercard, you might ask? Originally, it was going to be Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson for the interim lightweight title. Henry Cejudo versus Dominic Cruz for the bantamweight title. Felicia Spencer for the featherweight title. And Ngannou versus Rosenstrike all were officially confirmed for the card, as well as a slew of other fights. However, Nunes versus Spencer was officially postponed until June because Amanda Nunes said she can't really train in conditions like this and she wants to have a little bit more time to get in better shape and fighting shape. Angel, we've had all the news. How has this last probably week and a half been? Because obviously we have the card canceled on April 18th, and then to be back, not even, this card's going to be 2 weeks from now, to just be back in the grind once again. Like, what has been your emotions in this whole thing?
Hopefully everything works out. Hopefully we finally get some MMA. I mean, we've been begging for it for a while now, and maybe the MMA gods have finally listened to us, and we'll be blessed with some good MMA and an amazing UFC exciting card on television, live, with no audience.
Yeah, no audience in Florida. They had one MMA card. It was some regional card. Like, I don't know the promotion's name. I apologize for the promotion. But they actually ran a card not that long ago, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago in Florida. So, here's the important thing, and why I think this is going to happen, and I didn't mention this, but it was in one of the things I was supposed to mention in the header. Dana White is on the U.S. Economic Task Team. What does that mean? Dana White is one of the people that the president has picked to kind of be a part of this economic team for, I guess, he's part of the economic recovery team, like a team of advisors or whatever. So they literally have federal government support. And with the federal government, really, they can do whatever the fuck they want. Because here's the thing, they pretty much overpower the states. Like, they can tell, states have their own government, and that's part of the reason why California stepped in and was like, yo, dog, stop this shit. But honestly, if they have the federal government support and Florida doesn't give a flying fuck about anything, I think this card's gonna happen, man. I see a lot of people that are skeptical on Twitter and on Instagram and really on every social media site. But I really think with the government support on this one, I think it's gonna happen. Florida also is just, they don't care, man. Florida, they open their beaches, bro. They don't care. It's disappointing. It's terrible.
They don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck, man. They really don't give a fuck. The only other state I've seen that has not given a fuck like this is probably Georgia. Georgia's officially opening everything in 4 days. Everything. Florida still has sanctions except for, the beach and sporting events, which is really strange. But regardless, they do. Angel, of the 3 fights that are officially confirmed, obviously Gaethje, Ferguson, Cejudo, Cruz, and Ngannou, Rosenstrike, which of those 3 do you think stands out kind of above the rest? I know there's probably some other confirmed fights that, I don't know of, but of those 3, which one stands out the most?
Oh, boy. Put me on the spot here. Oh, man. I mean, they all stand out. I mean, they all have their own unique, it's a certain, probably the lesser heavy story is probably Rosenstrike and Ngannou, but even then there's story there to be told because it's this is one of these two guys could be the future heavyweight champion, just regarding, because they would have to fight next, they could win, in theory or whatever, however everything's going to happen at heavyweight, right? And then you have, obviously, Gaethje and Ferguson, those guys, I mean, there's story there, there's so much there, Gaethje kind of like, not to put it like this, but people feel like he's like the forgotten child of that weight class, like he hasn't been given his opportunity, truthfully. And then obviously Ferguson, been trying to get that title, officially no Ayrton title, like finally get that actual, real title. And then, obviously now we got another return in Dominic Cruz, and then the character in Henry Cejudo, the king himself, presenting himself to the world. I mean, there's a lot here to like. There's something there for everybody.
Yeah, you did a good job at kind of running down all the fights that are actually happening. You give me a cop-out answer, but I'll let it slide. As for like the fight that I'm personally most excited about, listen, bro, I gotta go with Dominic Cruz's return, because we were talking about this before we went live or whatever. This, like, Dominic Cruz, in my opinion, is probably the most underrated fighter of all time. And I understand that there's a lot of people that are saying he doesn't deserve his title shot. He doesn't deserve this. He doesn't deserve that. Listen, man, Dominic Cruz, the last time he lost before he lost his title to Cody Garbrandt was 2007. He was 22 years old, and he lost to Uriah Faber. After that, he went on how many wins is that in a row? 12 fight winning streak. He beat Ian McCall. He beat Joseph Benavidez twice. He dominated Demetrius Johnson. He beat TJ Dillashaw. He beat Uriah Faber twice. Dominic Cruz has been a bad motherfucker, man. And like, there was talk of him having an immediate rematch versus Garbrandt the first time around. People forget this, but I don't blame them. It's 4 years ago at this point, which is really insane to think about. I remember watching that card at SoPro Gaming. Shout out SoPro, rest in peace. I remember watching that card at SoPro years ago, almost 4 years ago at this point, and I remember watching that fight thinking like, holy shit, this fight's amazing. Garbrandt and Cruz, obviously. And I was just shocked whenever he lost, but that fight was awesome. I remember immediately afterwards there was talk of a rematch, because obviously, Cruz hadn't lost in fucking, what is it, over a decade or something, 12 fight winning streak, defended the title something like 5 times, 6 times. Like, he was a dominant champion. So I don't have a problem with him getting this title shot. I don't have a problem with him returning. And, I mean, with everything that's going on, I don't think Peter Yan can make the trip from Russia to the United States. I believe he's in Russia. Don't quote me on that. Pretty sure he trains there, though. And Aljamain Sterling, he doesn't want to fight during this whole pandemic situation. I don't blame him. But he's the only other person who I could say that clearly deserves a title shot. Maybe Corey Sandhagen, but I don't know what his deal is. I had no problem with Dominic Cruz returning, getting a title shot. I fucking love this fight. I think Cejudo is making his way as one of the greatest fighters of all time, and Cruz is probably the bantamweight go. Like, it's an awesome fight. You're gonna have to deal with Cejudo's striking and his kind of karate style stance with the insane movement in wrestling, counter wrestling as well. Like, Cejudo could try and wrestle, but Dominic Cruz is a bad motherfucker on the mats. So it's gonna be an awesome fight. And I also think the fact that we're giving Cruz only a couple weeks to prepare after years of a layoff pretty much means that, like, it's giving him less time to hurt himself, so I think that's pretty good. Like, I love Dominic Cruz, but the man's, he's injured all the time. Like, I didn't think he'd come back, but if he's really gonna come back and fight on May 9th, then that's dope shit. I might buy this card. Like, I'm really excited for it. If it does happen, which I think it will, man. I feel good about this card happening.
I hope so, man. I hope so. That's what we need right now.
Yeah, I mean, and based off what they're saying of how they're gonna have protections in place, from what I understand, a lot of people have asked UFC about testing. To my knowledge, they're gonna send out testing kits to all the fighters before fight week, and then whenever it comes to fight week, they're gonna have tested again, and then tested the night of the fight. So that seems like a relatively foolproof plan, especially with how, like, testing is getting significantly better. Like, before it was like you send in a test and you have to wait like a day or 3 or whatever the fuck. Now it's like they have 5-minute tests. Like, they're working on that. So by the time May 9th rolls around, I think this card's gonna happen. I really do. Like, I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. I'm trying to keep my emotions in check, obviously, And the card's already taken hits. Spencer versus Nunes was already taken off, it was originally announced, and Dana White says a lot of stuff, mostly for trying to pressure fighters to fight. Sometimes that happens. Like, he'll announce them for the card, and then those fighters are like, wait a minute, I didn't agree for this. So that's pretty much what happened now. Nunes Spencer, I think that's an awesome fight, and I think that one could be put on UFC 250. UFC 250 though, like, that's out. That's going to be next. So in June. So I assume that's going to be put on there. Yeah, that's about all I got for this one, guys.
Still waiting on Fight Island.
Fight Island's going to happen, but we don't know when. Actually, I don't know if Fight Island's going to happen anymore. I actually don't.
I hope so. Like Dana said he's working on. They said they're setting up the infrastructure. So I'm waiting for it.
That was also weeks ago, and weeks ago, UFC 249 was supposed to already happen. So
hey, Rome wasn't built in a day, Josh.
And Fight Island can't be either. So.